Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of SkuxxVerse. Today, we're just going to be talking about a very important question that's getting asked, especially as we're at this phase of our roadmap, and that's the formula which goes into our distribution model for all yields that our investors are eligible for, which, to remind you, is 100% of the staking yields, 100% of the renting yields, and 100%. World token just hit 40 cents US dollar. Let's fucking go. But anyway, and 100% of the in-game transactions. Now, I'm gonna start this podcast off because this has been on my mind. That if you are just in this project for the staking yields, you're not gonna make it. It's you got to think bigger picture than that. We've been shocking the NFT industry for the last month and a half now, just as the kind of concept that we're bringing in. And I'll tell you right now, it's not about the staking yields. That is a nice bonus for you guys, but the play to earn yields is where I will not stop going as crazy as we've been going until our play to earn model is up and well and our in-game economy is strong as ever. I'm buying these NFT worlds not just because I know that the floor is going to go up, or not just because of the staking yields and the renting yields. It's because we want to ultimately build SkuxxVerse across every single one of these that we own. We'll for the short term future be renting what we're not building on, but as things keep growing and volume keeps getting traded, and we keep seeing returns back into our capital, which we can then go and buy more NFT worlds and hire more verified builders and pay for more software developers, engineers, cover overhead expenses. This is where our true initiative is kicking in. So again, staking is a small portion, but we're going to talk about we're going to use our numbers today. I was thinking, like, how can I refrain from speculation, because renting and staking is not live yet, so we don't know a couple factors, and those that are just constantly asking in the community about, and I understand, but those that are constantly asking about how much tokens to exactly expect. We don't know how staking, when it goes live very shortly in the next week, I imagine, that we don't know how much NFT worlds are going to be staked. That's not, we have 25, but there's 10,000 out there. So depending on what the community of NFT worlds does in terms of staking is going to result on how much yields we get per every single, because we will stake all of ours, and all of them. We have 25 now, but by the time staking goes live, I'm sure that number will change, and we'll stake all of them. And then renting is going to come out, and it's looking good. If you've been on if you listen to the ArcDev podcast, I had him on a few weeks ago when the floor was a lot lower. We talked about how renting is going to outpace staking yields due to the entry point getting out of reach for people and just having to rent. And when you rent an NFT world, you can bring on your community, and your community can thrive from the in-game economy. So they get all of those bonuses, and that incentivizes them to spend more world when they rent our NFT worlds. So with that being said, I'm gonna bring you guys across to a graph I've made that's going to give you a nice idea of what we are at SkuxxVerse, what we are seeing as long-term percentages distribution of the yield. So in-game purchases, I personally think this number will get closer to 90%. But what this tells you is that total yields that we bring into our token holders or investors, this tells you what the strength comes from. So I've gone conservative with renting yields because, as you can see, we've just assumed it's about the same as staking. However, I just described to you guys why renting is going to outpace staking, and why it probably, if I believe if the contract got deployed today, that renting would already outpace staking. But again, do your own research. Like this is why this formula has taken a while, because there's limited information we can go off at this point, but we're using what we have. So, and then you'll see in-game purchases, we are expected at a conservative outlook that they'll 10x what to expect. Well, there, I didn't mean to pull that up straight away, but we're on pace for 300,000 wheel tokens a month through staking our NFT wheels. And don't use the average NFT wheel when you're trying to figure out, like, first of all, you can just go to SkuxxVerse.eth, the community wallet, and see what wheels we own, and then put it into Rare Wheels app and see where we're at now. And again, we're just going to be acquiring more and more, so it's not going to stop where we're at now. But I know we're well over 100k at this rate, so we're going to get that number up to 300,000, and then assuming that renting is just exactly what staking is, although we could push this number up, we're just going to be more conservative. And this is a 6-month outlook. Sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier. We're looking at this as in the next 6 months. This is how we see the distribution model looking. So with the 10x, as we've built out on all of our, or as much NFT worlds as the community members, like the numbers that we have, as much as it's suitable for, that's how many NFT wheels we'll be building on. So it's starting with SkuxxVerse. I imagine we're going to quickly move to another NFT wheel, but at the same time, we're actually going to pre-build some of these as well, so we're not having to wait 2 weeks after we do get the adoption that we need. As soon as in the next few days, I'll let you guys know that now. In the next few days, we're going to roll out a pretty big verified builder design across multiple of our NFT worlds. I'm in talks with Stellar Devs now. I think we're getting close to finalizing, and so that's going to allow us to onboard a lot more than just members into SkuxxVerse for to begin our in-game economies and PvP events and all that. We're going to put a few more themes out there, which will still be under the scope of SkuxxVerse and still be essentially called SkuxxVerse, but you may refer to them as their theme rather. So for instance, if we were to put out a giant golf course for gold members, this is just an example, then you'd call that, SkuxxVerse Golf World or something like that. But at any rate, we're going to have those lock and loaded, so when we do get the adoption from people coming in, both token holders and public, then we will have a new place for them to go to. Or if you don't have to stick to one, you can spend a little bit of your day out on our gladiator themed metaverse, then you can hop over and play around, and then you can go do some horse racing. These are all ideas that we've got in the works now that we're going to give you more of a permanent outlook on it later on. But for now, these are just some ideas is golfing and racehorses and exotic pets and a few cool ideas we have, but we're going to open that up to the community as well before we make any finalizations. So with the 10x of in-game purchases compared to our staking and renting yields, we can predict in 6 months we'll be looking at about a 3 million per month revenue for our token holders through the SkuxxVerse in-game economy, because as you know, 100% of in-game transactions are being sent back to our token holders. So we've got 3 million here, we've got 300,000, which I think in 6 months this is actually going to be a lot higher because we are, I think, over halfway there already. And then renting yields, again, is going to be more than what staking yields is. So you guys, please understand that this is very conservative. And if you're going to invest based on the first 2 months of yields, you might regret that later on, just because we're so early to the NFT world's ecosystem that the first 2 months is sort of just like the beta testing of how everything's going to look, and then as we progress in these SkuxxVerse metaverses get mass adopted, then things are just going to be moving a lot bigger, quicker. And anyway, I won't go too much further into that because I want to leave any speculation out of this, but we've gone conservative with these numbers. All right, we're going to head over now to SkuxxSheesh, who is one of our moderators. He's got an economics background. He's had some experience as an investment banker. He's just a huge asset to SkuxxVerse that I hired about, I'd say, a week and a half ago. But in NFT land, that's like we're in dog years, so that's like a year ago now he's been on the staff. So he's a great guy, and he's actually designed our calculator to, I gave him the numbers that we were working with, but he put it all into a spreadsheet for you guys to be very consumable for anyone that doesn't even have a tokenomics background. we've tried to make this as accessible to the public as possible. So, all right, guys, cheers. You won't probably hear from me until another podcast, so we're just going to go with SkuxxVerse and then end it there. Cheers, guys.
What is up, SkuxxVerse? It's SkuxxVerse coming to you with a SkuxxVerse payout breakdown. So we'll start off real quick in the upper left-hand corner. And as you'll see, I have an annotation tool that's in red, so just follow along. We're looking at total tokens of 3.6 million world that's being distributed to SkuxxVerse pass holders monthly. So what we're going to do today is break down the different passes, the percentages each pass gets, and then the payouts for just holding one pass in different brackets. We'll also then look at the three different brackets, the early adopter brackets, 1, 2, and 3, for gold passes, early adopter brackets for 1, 2, and 3, for red, blue passes, the remaining gold passes outside of the top 1,000, and then the remaining total passes outside of the top 1,000, minus these gold passes right here. So starting at the top, we'll see that there are 7,777 passes total. We all know that. That's full mint. We know that there are 777 golds. We know that early adopter bracket 1 has 300 pass holders, early adopter bracket 2 has 200 pass holders, and early adopter bracket 3 has 500 pass holders. When we look at the percentage breakdown, we know that 65% of this 3.6 million, so total token distribution, is going to every single pass holder. We also know that 25% of total distribution is going directly to gold pass holders. And then early bracket 1, 2, and 3 have their own percentages. So 5% of the 3.6 is going to 300 pass holders within early adopter bracket 1, 3% going to the 200 pass holders in early adopter bracket 2, and then 2% going back to the early adopters in bracket 3. So that's 500. We'll then go quickly through how many tokens you'll get for holding one pass. And I've used column E to put some verbiage into understanding how that is. If we look into the math over here, we'll see that you receive 300 world tokens just for simply being a pass holder. And that means this is how much you get regardless of tier or color. It's just holding one pass. The math is pretty simple. What we did is we took 3.6 million, we multiplied it by 65%, and then we divided by the total population of 7,777. So that's what we got the 300. Same formula is being applied with the percentages for the rest of these passes. So the gold passes, the brackets for the early adopters, and so on and so forth. Now, we know that just having gold pass, you earn 25% of the yield. Therefore, we took 3.6 million multiplied by 25%, and then divided by the total population of gold passes, which is 777. So on and so forth, same thing, 3.6 times 5% divided by 300 will get us 600, and then 540 and 144. So if we go through and we take a look at all of these, it gives us a good idea of how much you'll make for being either an early adopter or having a pass outside of the top 1,000. It also gives you an idea of having a gold pass outside of the top 1,000, how much you'll receive. So we'll go through some scenarios real quick, just so we have an understanding of the amounts received, and then we'll have the full breakdown. Now, as you can see, all of these numbers combined will equal to 3.6 million. So this is just everything multiplied across. So we have a good understanding of the amount of tokens generated just from being pass holders. If we go to early adopter bracket 1, we know that there are 22 golds, 16 golds in early adopter bracket 2, and 44 in early adopter bracket 3. So we'll take a look at the payouts real quick, and it's going to be very interesting. So this is why these passes command actually a premium within SkuxxVerse. So if we look at the first bracket, there are 22 golds within early adopter bracket 1. And if we take a look into the math, we know that just from simply being a SkuxxVerse pass holder, you'll receive 300 tokens. And we know that from simply being a gold pass holder, you'll receive 1,158 tokens. Now, the kicker here is that you'll also receive your bonus for being within the early adopter bracket 1, which is another 600 world tokens. So we add that all up and we get 2,059. So we did the same thing for the 16 in early adopter bracket 2, and then the 44 in early adopter bracket 3. So the math is all in there as well. See it all added up. See it all added up. As I mentioned, this is just multiplied through, so 22 times 2059. And when we go through and we take a look at the premiums that are coming through from being the red blue pass holder across these three brackets for early adopters, we'll see the same math being applied. So we're adding up the amount that you get from simply being a pass holder and then the amount that you'll receive for being an early adopter in bracket 1, and so on and so forth. You'll see the same math that's broken out. Now, to understand what you'll receive with a mint from outside of the first 1,000, which are early adopters, we go back to what I said in the beginning. We will see that there are 6,082 passes outside of the top 1,000 that are not gold. So these are red, blue that are left within the entire universe of passes. They will receive monthly 300 passes per one pass. The golds that are remaining outside of the top 1,000 will receive a combination of the 300 that you receive from just being a pass holder to 1,158 for being a gold pass holder. So all these numbers combined, you'll see it multiplied through, will equal out to the total distribution of 3.6 million world tokens distributed to SkuxxVerse pass holders monthly. Skux will go through the actual numbers breakdown for how we got to 3.6. But if you have any questions about the math or the formulas, please let me know. I know there are a lot of smart folks out there that have probably built out their own models, and it probably looks a lot like this. But if you have any questions, let me know in the Discord, let Skux know. And with that, we'll wrap it up. But hopefully this is a good explanation and you understand the payouts a little bit better. So appreciate it and have a good one, guys.